welcome everyone. Thanks, Anne-Mari, for starting. I would like to first introduce myself, then our colleagues, and then we can go for a quick tour de table. I'm Josephine. I work for Open Agile Smart Cities and Communities, which is OASC, and which is the coordinator of the CommuniCity project. And shall I go with my the what I see on my PC? Adib, please. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, so I am Adib Sidani from Porto Digital. I'm a project manager from the city of Porto. So I'm leading some of the challenges that are taking place in the city of Porto. So nice to have you all. Maybe Celia?
Yes, hi, can you hear me? Yes,
Yep.
great. So hi, I'm Celia Peltonen from Forum Virium Helsinki, and happy to have people, possible piloting partners to join, because I'm leading the piloting work package. So making sure that we have 100 successful pilots in this CommuniCity project. So welcome on my behalf. Thank you.
Yes,
Anne-Mari.
thank you. Grazie mille. Anne-Mari Sander from Forum Virium Helsinki. So we are the innovation company for City of Helsinki, and me and my dear colleague Celia are leading the work packages over the open call, which is me, and piloting, which is Celia. So really great to have all here online today.
And then there is Nelce. You
You're
mic
muted.
yourself, Nelce, sorry.
Yes, sorry. I'm Milje Babicic. I work for the municipality of Amsterdam for the Department of Innovation. And I'm the one at the municipality of Amsterdam that's responsible for CommuniCity. And I also host manage a lot of pilots in the past 2 open calls and in the next one.
And I would like to remind you that Adib, and Anne-Mari, Celia and Nelce do not just represent Porto Digital or Forum Virium or the municipality, but they are the 3 main partner cities. And so they are the ones we started the open course with, and then we went on and on expanding up to the European cities. So they have been piloting and running open calls since the very first round. Do we have the presentation round? You want me to share?
If you want, Josephine, you could share.
No, that's fine. If you have, can we record this event will be recorded as soon as we finish the introduction, so that you will be able to access and have a look, or just, for your reference. So if we can start Adib, can you do the recording? Oh, that is
yes,
already on.
The recording is already on.
Okay,
Yeah,
so if you can share the slides. Today we will go through a quick introduction of the project, and then we will just go through the challenges. Also, there should be Becky or someone from the municipality of Manchester who will be presenting their own challenges. Hi, Becky. Thank you very much for joining. It would be nice for you to present the challenges that your municipality is presenting. So the CommuniCity project is a 3-year horizon projects, and we are really focusing on finding AI, technical solution, emerging technologies focused to the marginalized communities. So this is what we have tried. Can you go to the second one? We are 12 partners. Again, the 3 main partner cities. Then we have some technical partners like OASC and engineering and CVC, Computer Center or Visio Center. And then we have the European Network of Living Lab, whose methodology our work is based on. It is, as I said, we started with the 3 main partner cities. The first open call round, and then the second one we added the cities of Breda, Tallinn, Aarhus from Denmark, and Prague. And then now with this third open call, we added 14 more cities coming from really different countries, different areas of Europe. And we have from Poland to Belgium, Spain, Italy, the Netherlands, Bosnia-Herzegovina. And so we will have the chance to deal with very unique challenges coming from different backgrounds. We will go through mobility, well-being and governance. I mean, most of them cover really different areas, so it will be really interesting to see them. Today we will be focusing on the challenges coming from the partner city. So we will have a look. Okay, this is the, thanks Adib. This is the very, the open course in brief, what we do in terms of the time frame, if you like. We kicked off the project last 2 years ago in September, and we launched the first open call in February 2023. And then the result after more or less 6 months, and then we started again with the second call. That's fine, yeah. Second call that we launched last year, September. And then we are now, as you can see, we started with 13 pilots and then 25, and now the big round with 62. Our main goal is to reach 100 project pilots before the end of the project, to kick off. These solutions will be piloted and handled, and we will the piloting phase will be starting at the end of the deadline. There will be this evaluation time, and then of course the winning proposals will be starting the piloting phase. Next slide, let's see. Yeah, the partners, we have already gone through that. And then here again, CommuniCity 3 round of open calls, and we can skip the other one and go to the next one. So now I think I will have to leave the floor to Anne-Marie Sander, who will give us an overview of the third open call, and we'll go through some of the challenges.
Thank you. So the third open call expands across Europe, as mentioned earlier, and it is open until end of October. And the budget that we are distributing during the third round of open calls is 820,000 euros, so quite considerable amount of money. And we have 60 grants or even over available for tech companies to develop their solutions, and each of the pilot teams is able to get funding of 12,500. That's the maximum amount. And we have pleasure to host 21 different organizations or challenge owners during this final call. And with these organizations and challenge owners, we came up with 54 challenges that are presented now, and now I'm missing my slide. I don't know what happened. So here it is, a bit small. So we also have a lot of support available, since we do understand that this is quite complicated and maybe for newcomers a bit difficult to tackle by yourself. So no worries, we support you and we have you, we got you. So we have matchmaking tool in order to find you suitable expertise in case you lack something. We have info events, as here we are, also one to come up. And here we explain you the basics of the CommuniCity project, as well as give you really concrete guidelines how to apply. And we have the technical framework that is there for you to deep dive into, but Adib will later on explain this to you in more detail. And there are also these great manuals that we have been writing during the first and second round of open calls that kind of include all the learnings that we have gathered during the first and second round of open calls. And maybe the next slide. And this is the timeline. So September, October, we have the open call open until end of the month. And the evaluation will begin right after the open calls has been closed. So in very start of the November, the applications will be distributed to the jury members that have been appointed by each of the host organizations or then the cities. And we hope to proceed to the piloting phase in the very end of November. And this will run until end of May. So that's the absolute deadline for the pilots, that they have to be finalized by end of May.
In Colombia, we say,
and then the next slide, there is some background noise somewhere.
Yeah, can we please switch the microphones off, if you don't mind?
Yeah, it might be also me a bit since I'm in the embassy, but if you can just put the next slide and see if it was me.
I already muted the people.
Okay, so here are the replicator cities, 17. So you can see with the red dots which are the partnering cities, so Helsinki, Porto, and Amsterdam, and the purple ones are those that are replicators for the last round. So then we can go to the next slide. So a few examples from the previous round. So what has been developed? So we had this really nice Inclusiverse company that made the really nice solution for virtual services for disabled units of City of Helsinki. They designed this safe and immersive virtual environment where the disabled adults could learn more about how to handle daily errands, such as going to the store or stepping into the bus or other kind of important things that you have to do in order to live independent lives. And we had absolutely fabulous amount of end users involved. So there was 150 clients of City of Helsinki participating to this pilot as a form of a roadshow. So the next slide. And this was actually, was this Porto pilot? Or so I was just thinking if Adi, if you would like to go through this since you are the expert.
Yeah. So in Porto, the area that we were trying to solve some of the marginalized people's challenges was, it had a lot of elderly people, and one of the things was digital inclusion. So we went into the elderly care center, so daycare center, and we taught them how to use cell phones, tablets, and other equipment to communicate with their loved ones and their families, as well as we taught them a little bit about cybersecurity and how not to fall into phishing things. At the same time, we created some apps and other platforms for them to use and to be user-friendly for them as well. So in general, that was the challenge, and a lot of people in the daycare center now know how to communicate with their loved ones. So next.
Okay, Josephine, now floor is yours, I think.
Josephine?
Josephine, you are muted.
Apologies. Sorry about that, but I was going to say that now we're going to go through very quickly through the challenges. If we can go to the other slide. Yeah, that's Belgium. How to engage young migrants in city planning, how to communicate in a more accessible way, and how to simplify the parking procedures. Now, you can have a look at, I will really go through because I will let the Helsinki and the other cities to go more in depth, because we have already gone through these ones, but In case you were not attending the first event and you would like more information about this, the other cities, please let me know and I will be happy to share with you more information. Now, just the titles of the challenges for Belgium, and which means Brussels and Bruges. Bosnia and Herzegovina, Sarajevo, they really are focused on improve the availability of assistive technology for people with disabilities. And the next one is Prague. Prague, they would like to, is really based on governance, how to reduce the gap between citizens and authorities, and again, how to improve the communication between the citizens and the municipalities. Next country is Denmark, Aarhus. Aarhus actually is joining for the second time. They have already been part of the second round of Open Call, and this time, again, interaction with public authorities could be more inclusive. So again, the gap, trying to reduce the gap, especially in particular this one for young people, the one from Aarhus. Next country is Italy. The two cities are Cuneo, placed up in the north of Italy, and Milazzo, very south in Sicily, and they are presenting different challenges regarding remote people, isolated people, sport, to how to practice, how to facilitate sport among young people, and again, another entity, a part of the Cuneo municipality, they are trying to find some mobility solution for to provide isolated communities. And then Milazzo is trying to make accessible tourist attraction for any kind of disabled. Next country will be Poland. This is an extremely interesting one because that comes from the city of Plock, and they're both dealing with both immigrants from Asian countries for work that will go to Plock for work, and then the other one will be, then the other one will be refugees. So there are two different kind, and then those ones will come from Portugal, Porto. They're only from Porto, except one from the city, which is very close to Porto, Matosinhos. So, Adib.
In Porto, as I mentioned before, we were concentrated in one of the areas that had a lot of social housing. So in the first and the second round, we targeted mainly elderly people, and in the second round, kids. And then in the third round, we are trying several other areas as well, because we made some workshops to identify the challenges that they had, and the result was this list. Basically, it was a huge list, but we narrowed it down into 12 challenges. And the last one was for Matosinhos, but in general, we had also digital literacy. We had a lot of healthcare problems, a lot of mobility situations that we wanted to solve. We needed to also improve the thermal behavior and resilience of the environment next to the social housing and inside the social houses as well. And of course, empower the seniors by making them more digitally included. Improving also and streamlining circular economy for marginalized communities. So we had several areas of intervention that we wanted to do. For Matosinhos, they wanted to focus more about environmental awareness and energy consumption. So they would like to create something related to that, a platform or something of that kind. But yeah, you could always go to the website and read more about each and every challenge for Portugal. This is from my side.
Yeah, and then I'll take it back because as OWASC, I actually represent, let's say, all the cities that do not belong to the partner city. So all the European cities, if you are interested in those challenges, that would be me. Spain, we have San Boy de Llobregat, sorry, and they are very focused on minors in terms of sustainable transport, help young, again, isolated people, on minors with mental health. We're dealing with the young childhood department or something. So they really are concentrated on young people between 13 and 18, I think. Next country, that will be Finland. So back to you, Anne-Mari.
Thank you. So we have 8 challenges in Helsinki. So first of them is how can virtual reality support independent living of the intellectually disabled. So this is the same unit that I already presented the case example. So virtual services for disabled adults. So that is the first challenge. And the second is how to enable sustainable choices and access to city services for immigrants. So this is service for immigrants so that they could better access to the services that benefit them the most. So for example, city bicycles and other services that are available regarding for example, loaning things from the library or tools from other places. So it's really about how to get them better involved in the city services and also kind of embrace the circular economy. And the third is the wild card, where we want to find innovative remote diagnostics that improve the city services. So this is wild card. So if you plan to submit your application to this challenge, you have to submit also letter of intent that indicates what is your host for the piloting phase. So who will be the organization or city department that will host the pilot together with you. In the other challenges, we have the pilot location already described in the challenge descriptions. So then there are still 5 challenges. So the first one is how can long-term employed be empowered with essential ICT skills? So this is a challenge by USIC's Department of Helsinki, who wants to enhance the possibilities of long-term employed coming back to the working life. And then there are 4 challenges that are related to the joint hospital that is being currently built in Helsinki. And these challenges are trying to find innovative solutions for this future hospital environment. So first challenge is how can robotic solutions provide assistance to patients? So for example, this can be small robotics-based logistic solution that brings the patients, for example, Big Mac from the restaurant instead of eating always the same food from the hospital kitchen. And the next one, how can shared understanding among patients, relatives, and staff be ensured? So this is more like sharing the information when the patient is treated, when it's good time for the relatives to visit. So just making this communication more fluent, enabling better relationships within the families. And 7th challenge is how can patient well-being be monitoring? How can well-being and monitoring be improved? So this is about different kind of solutions that can be employed within the Helsinki hospital environment in Helsinki. And the final challenge is how to ensure active engagement and mobility of the patients. So this is more about psychiatric patients. So how we can ensure that even though they have restricted areas where can they move around so that they would be more independent within those boundaries and maybe giving access to the garden if they like to go. So these kind of challenges are presented by Finland and Helsinki, and really hope you to submit strong applications to these ones. And back to the Josephine.
Yep. Helsinki. Oh no, that is still Helsinki.
Yes, those are the more detailed descriptions that I already put the link on the chat where you can find these more detailed descriptions for each of the challenges. So they are available below the city, kind of within the cities, the icons which you can find from the website.
Yeah, on the website you just have to go and click on the third round. Matosinhos, we did that.
And Porto as well.
The next one should be Porto, we did that. So maybe we can ask Becky to present the Manchester one. Now we have Becky Macmillan from the Municipality of Manchester. Thank you very much for joining. And it is a really pleasure to have you here so that you can describing the in-depth what Manchester is presenting. Now, these one that you see here, they do not belong to Manchester only. There is also, there is also 2 challenges from London, but we will go through them another time. Becky, the floor to you.
Oh, thank you very much for having us, Josephine. So I'm Becky Macmillan. I'm a digital strategy officer for Manchester City Council, which is a city in the north of England. It's really nice to see some familiar names as well in the chat. So if you're not familiar with the digital strategy, just to give you a little bit of background, we're a 5-year strategy. We're currently in our 2nd year of delivery, and we take a people-centric approach to technology. So broadly looking at how we can use digital to make a difference to the lives of people in our city through 4 main themes. So people, looking at that digital inclusion angle, how we can make sure that everybody has equitable access to tech, infrastructure, which is looking at connectivity within the city itself, prosperity, which is business support, and then also sustainability, which is looking at how we can achieve and tie into the council's zero carbon goals. So in terms of our city challenges, that's enough from us. We work with partners in the cultural strategy and poverty strategy to design challenges that we thought could make a really tangible impact to the city. So our first one is, how can cultural activities be promoted among minority communities? So in Manchester, we are incredibly lucky to have a really rich cultural offer. We're a UNESCO City of Literature. We have plenty of events, sport, music that the city is known for. But on the other hand, a lot of that activity is concentrated in the city centre, which creates a lot of geographic and financial barriers to people taking part in that and being able to take part in it. And despite some brilliant outreach programmes within the council and other fantastic organisations, we're finding that there's not equal participation between different communities. So the first challenge is really about how we can support and promote those activities and the cultural offer that we do have in Manchester to communities that are currently underrepresented, and how can we make sure that everybody in Manchester has equal access to take advantage of everything that the city has to offer and become a part of like full life in the city. Our second challenge is very specific, actually. It's about how to address poverty via a single source of information. And unfortunately in Manchester, there is a big challenge for us. The poverty rates are quite high. We know that there is an abundance of support out there, which is absolutely brilliant. There are some incredible organisations doing fantastic work. But in conversations with the poverty team, what we're finding is that there's actually an overabundance of this information, and that the landscape is quite confusing in terms of what support is actually an offer to people that are experiencing poverty and the people that are supporting them. So when organisations are looking at what they can do, they're not being connected with the right support. It's actually confusing and it's overwhelming, and it makes things a lot more difficult. So this is an appeal to really the creative and technological minds out there in designing a tech solution that would collate all that information into an up-to-date, culturally sensitive, centralised information source that could help those grassroots organisations provide the right support. And also help people who are experiencing poverty to change their own circumstances and empower them to make a difference in their own lives. And then for our third challenge, it was a bit of a wild card, really, because it's use any technology to solve any social challenge. So this can literally be related to any area: housing, young people, elderly people, anything at all, as long as it's using tech to provide a solution, and that the group that is delivering it, or person that is delivering it, will be working very closely with those community organisations. So if you're already involved in community challenges, I think this would be a perfect one, because it's quite broad and we're really looking forward to seeing what creative solutions might come back as a result of it. So those are our three challenges for Manchester. If you're interested in applying, please do have a conversation and reach out to the CommuniCities team. We're really excited about the potential of the programme to make a real difference to people in Manchester, and we're really looking forward to seeing what applications we get. It's very important to us as a strategy that any new applications of technology are designed with the people that they are most likely to impact. We don't want it to be an experience where tech is something that's inflicted or done to a community. And we believe that the best way to address challenges that are important to people in Manchester and to make a positive difference to their lives is actually working with those communities to find out what the barriers are and what solutions they would like to see. And because the CommuniCity approach is so centered around co-creation and building solutions collaboratively, it was something that we just really wanted to take part in and thought would be a brilliant opportunity. So we're really hoping to get some good applications. So that's it from us, and thank you very, very much for having us.
Thank you, Becky, and thanks very much again to highlight the co-creation point, which is actually one of our core values, if you like, which means not just a technical solution delivered, but really co-built, co-created, and that is so. Thank you very much for that. We have London Shift, which is basically they try to improve or get better to reevaluate the East London part, and in this particular case, accessibility and inclusion for people with disability. Now, the next city, I think the next country will be, let's see the next slide.
Yeah, London has a second challenge, so maybe enhancing the collective.
That's the second. Yeah, if you just go.
So we could go to Amsterdam now. Maybe.
Amsterdam, please. Neltje?
Yes. Well, the first one you see is a wild card, and it means in our case that we are looking for any AI solution to any issue faced by any marginalized group. And in this case, we want the tech company that applies to work together with an association that is in contact with the group, or it can also be an association in contact with the group that is the main applicant, but they would need a tech partner to develop a solution with them. And Amsterdam will not be the host, so the association needs to host the pilot. And then we have a few much more specific. The one about domestic violence, what we are looking for is an AI interpreter that can be used for phone calls when we receive phone calls about domestic violence, or when we visit people at their homes that we have heard about that they are in trouble or that they may be in trouble. We want to be able to talk to them, even if also if they do not speak Dutch, and we do not always have a live interpreter available. And for the third one is, there are a lot of tools already for people with dementia to train their memory, for example, but they are not suitable for people with a migration background. So we are looking for something like that, but then specifically for people with a Moroccan background. The fourth one is, actually, if you apply for this one, you're supposed to use an open source tool that has been developed more or less, but that together with citizens of Amsterdam, but we would like it to be improved and elaborated with citizens of a different part of Amsterdam. And it is to give them access to people who can help them with their economical problems, financial problems. The fifth one is not by the City of Amsterdam, but by an organization called Rainbow Group that works with homeless people and addicts and more socially isolated people, and they want the volunteers, people that volunteer for the organization to have an easy way to stay in touch with the participants of the Rainbow Group, because they often do not have smartphones. So it has to be something very easy to use, and we do not know what technology or what device, but that's up to the applicants. And the sixth one is also by the Rainbow Group, and it's well, when the volunteers get in touch with a participant of the Rainbow Group, they are supposed to think of activities they can do together, and to make that more attractive and easier, we are thinking of some kind of gamified tool to make it more attractive and more motivating to think of things you want to do together. And also the people who work for a Rainbow Group, they should be able to give suggestions, so they should also have access to this tool or whatever it may be. It's up to the applicant, of course. And the seventh one is, we would like to find out whether it's possible to develop a chatbot to support parents who are in high conflict divorce. We have a lot of information but it's mostly in the heads of the people working for the organization that's part of this chatbot, and they are not always available, and people often need instant advice. And despite it, we do not expect to come to a full working solution, but we hope that at least we will find out whether it is the way to go, whether it's a good idea to develop such a chatbot, or whether it's not really possible to develop a chatbot that works well for this situation, for this group of people. And then it's The Hague. I do not know that much about their challenge, actually, but I think this is meant for people who have more difficulty using public transport, and how it can be easier for them. But I do not know that much about it.
It's a mobility challenge, and I can't see whether we have Utrecht in here, but we have two more challenges for the City of Utrecht and the University of Utrecht as well. The Hague, that's the Hague, and the Utrecht, exactly. How to reduce street harassment. That is from the municipality, so they just look for a solution like that. And then we have also the University of Utrecht presenting a challenge. If you can just skip to the other slide. How to foster the city, that's the second one for the City of Utrecht, which is trying to, okay, sorry.
I can explain.
It's just they went back to the UK, so I got a bit confused, please.
For the University of Utrecht, it's the University of Applied Arts, and there is a network of students with autism, ASS spectrum, and they would like, it's a community, and they are the host for this challenge, and they are looking for a kind of calendar that will help them plan things better, because they easily get overloaded, and they have to, and they hope that this calendar will use AI to learn, to get to know them, and to give them suggestions if they are planning too many things on the same day, for example, and that they will get, or maybe also give reminders that it's a good idea to have something to eat or so, because people with autism sometimes forget that. And so they are looking for a calendar that is specifically suitable for them to, with the needs they have.
With autism, yeah. Okay, the UK, we went through Manchester, we did that, and then, we did all the challenges. So regarding, as our colleague was saying, we do base part of our work on the co-creation, which means that obviously we try to involve citizens and to co-create with them the solution. First, we co-create and we help them identify the challenge, and then again, we try to tailor the technical solution for them. So now Chase now going to explain a bit more in depth about our co-creation concept. So if you want to have a look at the slides that are here for you.
Yes. The co-creation is a very important part of CommuniCity, and especially co-creation with marginalized groups. We hope to, well, that we inspire people to co-create more with marginalized groups, and also we would like to learn more about it. So if you do a pilot and you find out that some things work very well or some things do not work well, please let us know, because we can use it to, well, together we want to learn more about this, but we already know quite a bit, we think. So we also developed a toolkit that I'll tell you more about later, but the essence of what we think is important in co-creation is that it's human-centered design, and it's you need to involve all stakeholders, and they are all equal participants. So you should not think of like the tech people as the experts, and the other people, the people that you develop for, are just giving some ideas, and then it's the experts that decide. But we are supposed, we hope that all people, all stakeholders are seen as equal participants. That's what we advocate. Oh, sorry, that was only the first bullet. And so, well, and it's very important to involve the target group in all phases of the design process. So not, for example, only in testing or only in defining the needs, but involve them in all stages. And they should be at the center of the design process, because if you do not design something for and with them, you may design something that doesn't really work very well for them in the end. Okay, now I can have the next slide. Yes, so these are some traditional research methods. Many tech developers use some, they do gather some input from the target group, for example, by surveys or interviews or focus group. But we think co-creation should be a bit more than that, and that will be seen on the next slide. There will be some examples. For example, these two methods that you see here, they ensure an equal position of stakeholders. In the guided tour, for example, the people of the target group will show the other stakeholders around in their environment so that the other stakeholders get a better understanding of what the issue is and what the context is of the issue. And the photojournal, it's also a method that's that's gives an equal position to stakeholders, because it's the people who are the target group. They take photos to show their environment to the people that are going to design solutions with them. The next slide, please. Okay, yes, so there are many more co-creation methods with greater involvement of the different stakeholders, and particularly the target group, to make all stakeholders understand the needs and of the target group better. These are a few examples. For example, worst possible idea is this is one you all try to think of very, very bad ideas, and it may sound strange, but it kind of puts you in a different mindset. And once you have collected the worst possible ideas, you can start thinking of the opposite of these bad ideas, and that can lead you to good ideas. So it's a way of to put you in a different mindset, as I already said. And there are many more. For in role playing, you get to play certain situations that the target group encounter in their daily lives to make everyone understand better what the issue actually is. And so there are several methods, and on the same, I think on the next slide you will find where you can find more information. Oh no, that will be later. These are some suggestions or guidelines actually for when you co-create with marginalized communities. Well, it's, as I said, involve them from start to finish. And it's also important to go to the target group. If you organize co-creation sessions, do not expect they will come to you, but you go to them and meet them in their environments. And if you are not in touch with them yourselves, you can use intermediaries to get in touch with them. And it's also helpful to increase the diversity of your own team. It helps if people can identify with someone in the team. And it's important to have not too big groups for the sessions, because it will make it easier for people to actually give input and take really part in the sessions. And it's also important to use language that the community can relate to, and not a lot of tech stuff that they may not understand, but really be aware of whom you're talking to and use language that is familiar to them. It's also very important, we think, to make the expectations very explicit, because of course we are doing pilots, and probably many of you know that pilots do not always lead to implementation of a solution. And it's important that the people who invest their time in the project, in the pilot project, are aware of that, and that to decrease the chances of them being disappointed at the end, because we think it's important, especially because this project is about working with marginalized groups. We do not want to harm them into disappointment or disappoint them. That would be really a shame if by doing this project a lot of marginalized communities end up disappointed. That's not what we want. So it's very important that when you work with these communities, that you make clear to them, that we do not know whether there will be whether the solution they help developing will actually be implemented. And it's also important that you ensure that taking part in the project itself has benefits for them, even though maybe the solution will not be implemented. And it's also important to ask them how you can make this experience beneficial for them. And we also think it's good if you create or stimulate a sense of ownership. The next slide is the last one, I think, on co-creation. Yes, we have this on the website of CommuniCity. We have CommuniLab. There are a lot of tools and guidelines and things like that we developed during the project. And there's one of them is a co-creation toolkit. So if you are writing your proposal and it can be useful to have a look at this co-creation toolkit and to find some methods that you may want to use if you get selected. So you can write in your proposal what kind of methods for co-creation you intend to use. And so this is we hope, a very useful toolkit for writing the proposal, but also for running the pilot project.
So this is my part again. Besides offering or encouraging people to co-create inside CommuniCity's project, we also encourage them to use our technical framework that we developed. So we offered you co-creation tools where you can check them out, as Nilch was saying, but we will offer you also some technical framework specifications to use. And you can find everything in CommuniLab as well. So what are we offering and why is it important? So for example, imagine a developer or a tech provider that wanted to create a solution, a platform, an app, or anything, and wanted to use the data of the city. So by using the specifications in the API, we will enable this solution to be replicable into various cities, because most of the cities, they use the MIMs, the minimum interoperability mechanisms, and with that, each solution or the data management that we are trying to do can be replicated to various cities. So with that, we offer a sandbox, a toolbox, and assistance as well in the services. With the toolbox, we have AI tools, so it's a series of tools that you could use which are based on open source, of course, components, and they are based on the MIMs and the specifications, where you could use any AI tool that is inside this toolbox. It's for free and was basically made for this project. But as well, if you are developing something that is not inside this toolbox and you want to create another AI tool, you could also insert it inside the toolbox, which is a plus, and you will have extra points on that if you will do that. The sandbox, it's a safe environment where you could test the services or anything that you're creating. It has all the data, and it's a safe environment which gives you a step-by-step way on how to use the toolbox as well. So basically, this interoperability thing we are trying to create and promote inside the project. So just to give a quick example on the toolbox, so we have, for example, live translation, we have face detection, age, gender estimation, and blurring faces. And we are still developing a lot of tools, but also you could add whatever you want. This is the interface of the toolbox. So you have the quick start, you have all the guidelines to be used inside this toolbox. The sandbox, as I explained before, this is more a general overview in it. So we have the support team. So if you had any trouble using the toolbox, or the sandbox, we will support you, and it just facilitate and accelerate the learning curve for you to use the components of the toolbox as well, providing you a step-by-step configuration and installation process. And it could give you a way or a tool to validate if your platform or service that you're trying to do is applicable or has the right specifications and APIs that we are asking for and are abiding by the MIMs. We encourage AI solutions because first of all, we want to standardize AI inside Europe in general, but as well, it's something that is innovative and still in the experimentation phase, and it's based on data. So if you could do some solutions based on AI, it will be really interesting and really important. Of course, we encourage you to also follow the AI Act, which we have also on the website, some documentation about that to help you understand the AI Act and how to follow the regulations. Basically, this is what we are offering from the technical framework and CommuniCity as well. So the evaluation process and criteria, I don't know if Anna-Marie wants to continue with that, or should I continue?
Well, I
Ajib,
can
if you could.
continue
Oh, yeah.
if
No, I
there
just
is
wanted to
not
add
too
one
much
thing,
space.
if you don't mind, regarding the replicability. So you have probably noticed that some of the challenges are similar. Poverty issues, isolation issues. So please feel free to propose to both challenges or to the challenges that maybe you feel you can contribute to. So you go ahead, Anna-Marie, with the evaluation process and criteria.
Thank you. So
Thank you very much.
Earlier mentioned that evaluation process is based on the jury members that are selected by the cities and organizations that have set the challenges. So there are 3 to 5 experts that are responsible for evaluating the challenges within their cities or organizations. And there are 4 basic criteria, but then there is a 5th technology, which is evaluated by CommuniCity technical jury members, out of which Adib is today with us. So he is part of the technical jury. And the selection, the challenge owner or grant awarding entity will select the winning proposals by using this CommuniCity open call platform, which we have developed in Forum Virium Helsinki. And we make sure that the evaluation process is transparent and equal for each of the applicants. And after the evaluation has been finalized, all the applicants will receive email containing their scores for each of these 4 basic criteria, and some get also the technical criteria scores. So these are delivered to your email, and it will also contain the information, have you been awarded or not? And there will be also city representatives or other organizations who will be responsible for hosting the pilot, and or the city pilot managers will be contacting you by phone probably as well. So and about the timeline, this will be done during the 3 first weeks of November, so you can expect results in the end of November or within the few weeks on start of December. So maybe the next slide. So here you can see the criteria that are already I mentioned. So we have impact, implementation, quality and efficiency, excellence, and co-creation, which are the ones that city appointed jury members will evaluate. And then there is the technology, which will be Arib and other technical jury members evaluating. And minimum scores and weightenings you can see attached to each of the challenges. So minimum scores are between 0 and 5, and of course there is weightenings totaling to 100, and there might be some weightenings and minimum scores that vary. So we have this kind of a minimum threshold for some of the challenges that you have to pass in order to kind of continue. So automatically, if you don't pass these minimum thresholds, you will be dismissed. And there are open call documents that are also legal documents. So from these documents, you are able to find more information and really detailed legal information as well. So there is a link, which we can also put probably to the chat so you can see it right away, where you can find really detailed information. And the attachment 1, which is the invitation for applications, is one that has all the challenges and all the concrete information about the funding as well. And note that there are 4 different sets of open call documents, because all of the partners have a bit of a funding. OASC has the most. So we do use our national or kind of a CommuniCity open call documents that are tailored to our national legislation, since we have to follow the national legislation regarding the procurement laws. So this is something that you should kind of take into consideration. So for example, in Amsterdam, it's possible to have direct procurement right after piloting phase, but for example, in Helsinki, it's not possible. So there are some small kind of updates on these documents. So that's probably in a nutshell all the evaluation criteria related information. And then I could maybe say a few words about Q&A as well. So if you put the next slide. So as mentioned, this is a public procurement, and it's really important that we are transparent and equal. So that's why we don't take basically direct questions, but what we do is that we look into the questions that have been submitted through the form, and then we make collectively the answers to those questions. And then we try to answer these questions within 3 working days' time so that they are available at the CommuniCity website. And this is a bit slide that is not quite finalized. So this is actually about the replicator cities, but let's not go into this now. So just to say that if you have any questions, you can ask these in end of this session, and we will answer to you, but we will also answer these questions on the website. So they will be verbally here and in written in the CommuniCity website, and go there and also see what others have been asking, because there might be some really good questions that help you forward as well. For example, challenge specific questions that open also new things for you in order to make stronger application. And there were actually some pre-presented questions, which we try to also answer here, just to let you know that we are about to answer them. And here are, maybe Josephine, you would like to go through the basic information regarding the how to contact us and so forth.
Yeah, absolutely. Regarding the, now we will be, I've seen that there are some questions in the chat. We can just go through them verbally, although we have already responded. And then regarding the further information, please send your request either via the Q&A form or sign up for the newsletter.